welcome to this week's edition of WCS Sports Connection. I'm your co-host, Jeremy Qualls, and with us as always, our local wrestling expert, Tate Mathews. Tate, wrestling came to an end this past weekend on the dual side.
That's right.
Individual tournament still coming up.
2 weeks.
TWCA State Championships was this past weekend. We had Fairview, Nolensville, Brentwood, and Centennial in the TWCA State Championships, and how did we fare?
Unbelievable. Fairview finishes third place.
Number one, first ever
That's right.
win by a Fairview team in postseason play, in TWCA State Championship-wise, and then the highest finished ever.
That's unbelievable. I mean, great job. So, as we mentioned last week, they caught Nolensville in the first round. We hated to see that. Now, if memory serves me correct, Nolensville, they met twice in the regular season. Nolensville won both of them. Fairview turns around and wins. They fall to Signal Mountain. Go down in the consolation bracket. They wrestled the winner of Alcoa-Hickson in the morning, which was Hickson. They defeated Hickson. Then they defeat Greenbrier, who Nolensville defeated Greenville in the morning, and then had Greenbrier. So there was a chance they could have seen each other again in the console finals. But Fairview ends up facing Greenbrier in the consolation finals. They win their third place state duels.
That's awesome.
You just can't say enough great things about it. Great job.
Who won the AA?
I do not know. My guess. Gibbs. I do know. Gibbs won.
Gibbs, okay.
Which is interesting. Gibbs has been a AAA school since you and I were in high school. This is their first year that they drop down, and they win their first state championship. And I'll give you one guess what color Gibbs' primary color is.
Gray.
Columbia blue. They're in East Tennessee.
There's some gray in there, though, right?
Depending on the sport.
Yeah.
You know how that works.
Right.
Some guys choose to insert it.
It goes to the point that we discuss wrestling and how it's a really, really stout East Tennessee sport right now, particularly from Chattanooga area up to the Knoxville area. East Tennessee pretty much owns the wrestling, about like we own volleyball.
About like we own volleyball and
just one of many sports.
That's right. Soccer, well,
tennis.
What do we have? What kind of programs
track,
in volleyball and
football,
soccer do we have really strong here? Youth programs, right?
Right.
Well, that's how it is in East Tennessee. That's Cleveland and Saudi and Bradley. They'll all tell you that. That's a big part of. And if you followed the Summit success, you look at one of the first things Coach Miller did when he got here. He started a youth program. You got to have it if you're going to be successful.
Fairview, same way. Went over there the other night to watch a ball game. They were playing East Hickman. Prior to that tip-off in the auxiliary gym, they had, 20, 30 guys that were little bitty guys, in there going at it, doing the thing. So, it's one of those things where the feeder program feeds the middle school feeds the high school. If it's one seamless transition, it's not rocket science, folks. It works. All you got to do is get everybody on the same page.
That's right. Well, and Coach Derek, he's a Father Ryan guy. He learned. There's the blueprint right there. You've got Nashville Catholic Wrestling, feeds the parochials, goes into Father Ryan, and we know what kind of success they've had in wrestling. But great job by Fairview, great job by Nolensville making it in only the second year. Then in AAA, Brentwood finished fourth. Unbelievable finish for them as well. When we first get the matchups, Centennial got Cleveland and Brentwood got Saudi Daisy. I got to be honest, outside of maybe us and Brentwood, I don't think many people gave Brentwood much of a shot of beating Saudi Daisy. They defeated them in the first round of the tournament. Then they fell to Heritage. That bumped them down to the consolations. And then they wrestled the winner of Dobbins-Bennett in the morning and Anderson County. They got DB, which then they moved on. Then they faced Beach, which then they moved on again. Now they're in the third, fourth match. They ended up facing Arlington. They fell to them and ended up fourth place. Just a great job by them. Anytime you get there, it's a big deal, but then to finish fourth place in the AAA state duels, that's a heck of a deal. Remember, they hadn't even been since 2012. Coach Curran and Coach Smith, co-head coaches, they've done an unbelievable job there in just their first year. And, got some really good wrestlers, as we'll see in a couple of weeks. Brentwood's got, I'd say they have 4 or 5 guys that could probably will place in the individual state tournament. So that's going to be great. Centennial came back. Again, they hit Cleveland. Cleveland was the overwhelming favorite. They're probably the Memphis East of the AAA state basketball tournament, right? Came back, got a match in the consolation bracket at 9 in the morning against William Blount. They did win that, and then they ended up getting beat by Beach in the next round. So two team losses, you're out. But they did get a team win against William Blount, who's a quality program.
Well, 2 weeks from now, individuals tournament, dare to even speculate how many individual winners we could potentially get? Be a
I'd
bunch.
say if you, I mean, well,
I want to say I think we had 6 last year.
Yeah.
I mean that's a lot.
I was going to say you get up around 5, 6 to 8, you had a heck of a tournament.
So we'll keep you updated on that. Over on the hoop side, man, Friday night, Rivalry Friday. 3 of our biggest rivalry games were played. Battle of the Woods, Battle of Franklin, and the Border Battle, all 3 being played on that night. You know what? I think it was I'm not sure it was by design. I think it just happened to fall out where they all 3 play on the same night here this late, coming in the home stretch for District 11 AAA tournament. I think it's a pretty neat situation where all 3 play. Not only that, we did our first ever post-game party live from Buffalo Wings and Rings. Tate, I thought it was an overwhelming success.
I did too. The restaurant was full. There wasn't an empty seat except maybe that, I don't know, I didn't see the room that's kind of off to the side. That
Patio.
I didn't see the patio. But and the neat thing was, I look over and I see Summit and Indy coaches sitting there talking, and you had Ravenwood and Franklin coaches sitting there. So that was really neat, and the turnout of the students was really cool. Centennial and Franklin, they about took up the whole restaurant themselves.
They absolutely did, and what a game that was. We'll get to that game.
The entertainment was top notch too.
The entertainment, these 2 guys, man, everybody come out. They tuned us out.
Nobody threw food at us. I thought that was a win.
They tuned us out as soon as we started, but that's all right. Brentwood 17-7, 10-4. The Lady Bruins, they beat Page 51-43 in the first game of the week last week, but they did lose the Battle of the Woods 51-28. A lot of people were shocked at this. I don't think you and I were, because obviously we're the experts, but it seems to me like now the Lady Bruins have got to get something figured out prior to the tournament. They're trending in the wrong direction. Now, they have Centennial and at Independence this week. Both are winnable games. Both, I'll go ahead and predict, will be wins for them. But Izzy Franco, great player. They've got to get things back in order.
Well, that was the first thing that jumped out to me is Ravenwood, and I hate it when people blame it on the Ravenwood's defense held Izzy Franco to 5 points. So right then in a big game like that, if she's only going to score 5, that's probably not going to bode well for Brentwood. But so Ravenwood played really good defense. They did a good job of taking her out of her game, which she's been their she's their leading scorer. She's the one that they kind of build around, right? But Emily Truschel, she had 10 points, and so I don't know. You're the basketball coach. I don't know how they do that, but in the 2 Truschels, and then in Franco, you've got potentially 30 points right there. They have to have that if they're going to win these Ravenwood, Dixon County, Franklin games.
Well, people are like, "Have you lost your mind?" They're 17-7. Well, they've lost 2 of the last 3,
That's right.
And very important games. Now, Battle of the Woods, you can throw the records completely out the window. It does not matter what happens because that's just that type of environment produces that kind of game. But you want to be clicking on all cylinders.
Right. And you mentioned 2 of those 2 losses are teams that they previously beat both of them earlier in the season.
Well, the Lady Cougars of Centennial were at Franklin for the Battle of Franklin. Their record right now, 5-14, 1-12 in District 11 AAA play. Lost to Dixon 70-42 last week, and they did lose to the Lady Rebels of Franklin 51-23. They're at Spring Hill, they're at Brentwood, and they have Ravenwood left. That is a rough schedule for them. I feel very confident Coach Simmons gets another district win at Spring Hill this week, but then he has to follow that up with the Woods. Both Woods teams left. That's not easy to finish up on those 2 games going into District 11 AAA tournament.
No, it's not. You really need to get the Spring Hill win, get a little bit of confidence, and from talking to him Friday night, they know what the problems are. It's just a matter of can they correct them or not, but need to do it pretty quick.
The Lady Jackets of Fairview, 8-16, 6-7 in district play right now. Lost to East Hickman 50-36 last week, and Creekwood 66-34. They have GCA in Stewart County. They need to win that GCA game. I firmly believe they will. The Stewart County will be a tough matchup for them. Stewart County currently in first place in the district right now for them, 11 AA. Audrey Cox obviously still averaging a double-double, playing really good basketball for them. Here's the good thing. They're sitting in 5th place right now in 11 AA. They play Camden, potentially play Camden in that 4-5 game starting up, or the 5-6 game rather coming in. And they split with Camden earlier this year. Both 7-point win, 7-point loss, pretty much heads up. All they have to do is win that game, get themselves in the region tournament. That'd be a huge, huge opportunity for the Lady Jackets to be right now, even finish midway of the pack in district play is a big accomplishment for the Lady Jackets and where they're coming from. But to win that first-round game to get themselves in the region tournament, that'd be huge.
Oh, it'd be real huge. And, you look at the success at Franklin that they're having both on the boys and girls side. I think in Fairview that's probably this, what they're doing, the two of them together, hasn't happened there in a long time. So they've had a great regular season, one of the best ones they've had in the years. I'd love to see them get a win or two in the tournament.
Franklin Lady Rebels, Coach Wild and his team, man, they just keep on winning. 21-2, 11-2 in district play. Sitting number 6 in the polls right now in the mid-state polls. Beat Independence 49-30. Won the battle of Franklin 51-23. You want to talk about an efficient evening for Holly Harris. 31 points, 7 of 10 from threes. That leads us to the WCTV Play of the Week. It's a combo package. Holly Harris, Trey Carlton of Centennial. Watch the efficiency of these two.
And Holly Harris, number 12. Holly Harris, signee with the University of Alabama, Huntsville.
Guard up there trying to get it to her down in the block.
Harris from downtown. Holly Harris. That's what you come to Franklin to see, is Holly Harris drain the three. She's got 5 points early.
Settle them down a little bit.
They run that play for Harris, and she buries the three.
Wow, tonight, and that's Harris, not who you want to leave open in transition for sure.
Don't leave Holly open. Down to a minute. Here's Harris again. And again. Stout defense on Jillian King. She have a 5th one in her? She does.
Yeah, wow.
Holly Harris, 5 3-pointers tonight. Here comes that set play again for Harris. Knock it down. Harris again from downtown.
Hey, wow, that's exciting. How about 31?
Is it 31?
That's 10 3-pointers for the Lady Rebels tonight.
Pass. Carlton, big jump stop. Williams over to Carlton for 3. Do they lead?
You got it.
They do. Trey Carlton. Carlton again from the corner. Yes! Carlton.
They've won 6 in a row, Tate. Lady Rebels, what is the ceiling for these girls?
I think they can make the Murfreesboro.
I think so too. Going to have a little. I hate to say luck because they're playing so well, but getting there, there's a little bit of luck involved. Have to have the ball bounce your way, but if they continue playing good basketball, there's going to come a point in time where an athletic team will really, really step up the defense and throw some junk defense at Holly Harris, right. A triangle 2, a boxing 1, whatever. Somebody else is going to step up. Jillian King has been kind of part of that. She's
averaging 11 points a game.
Right, and you've got several other pieces there. I mean, Holly's not the only person. Obviously, she is the one that makes them go, but get ready for that junk defense.
Oh, without a doubt. And the good thing is you got a coach who's been doing it a long time, been in a lot of games, right, a lot of big games. So you would think that if and when that happens, hopefully he'll have an answer. But, when you're a talent like Holly Harris, if they can find a way to get you open, she's going to score. And then, she's going to score anyways. But when she's going 7 for 10 from threes, that's not good for anybody.
She shot 80% total for the night. That's pretty good.
Pretty good.
That's pretty efficient.
You can win like that.
Abby Younger's another piece of that puzzle that we talked to. Yeah. She's rebound, put back, just a good hard-nosed player, good defensive player. So they've got the pieces, man. They don't have a whole lot of size, but they've got the pieces. If they can just continue rolling on, get in there. And the funny thing about it is they're not even sitting on first right now in District 11 AAA. Right. You've got obviously Dixon in there as well. They played Dixon this week. They lost to Dixon 28-24. Crazy scoring game there, 28-24, right? I mean, it's one of those low and ugly games. And then they have Spring Hill. I'm pretty certain I can go out on a limb and give you the stone cold lead
lock of the week.
Lead pipe lock of the week. Franklin Lady Rebels defeats Spring Hill. Now, if he was here, he'd be like, look, we're just taking one game at a time.
I think they beat Dixon County.
They're just taking one game at a time. We can't look that far forward. But I do agree with you 100%. That's another pick I would take today. Yeah. They beat Dixon.
I think Dixon County's got some problems going into the tournament.
Independence Lady Eagles, 7-17, 2-10 in district play. Lost to Franklin 49-30 and to Summit in the border battle 56-51. Rivalry Friday brings out the best in the teams regardless of what the record is. They stay, that Summit game is a tight one. They play Dixon this week They lost to Dixon 65-42 the first time. They play Spring Hill, whom they beat 76-37. I think that's another win for the Lady Eagles. And then they play Brentwood. They lost by 13 of those guys. I don't know. That game right there could be a very interesting game for the Lady Eagles.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, Brentwood's got a lot more to play for than them. And so, hey, go out there and lay it all on the court and see what happens. Let's try to pick one of them off.
That's right. Never know what happens. Hey, Nolensville, the Lady Knights, 18-5, 7-1. All they have to do is win one of the next two games. They wrap up the number 1 seed in district play.
Big time. Coach Ladd.
Coach Ladd. His
first time coaching girls basketball.
And they are playing great. Have won 5 in a row. They won 9 of their last 11. Beat Marshall County 51-47 and Giles County 59-44. They played Marshall County again and Community, which they beat the first time 53-43. They're sitting first in 12 AA. One of those wins, just one. And even if they get a little help from somebody else and Forrest happens to drop one, this thing is over. District champions, Lady Knights of Nolensville.
I'd be huge. You know, you want to say, oh, man, that'd be the best thing. But, you know, wrestling makes it to the state tournament, and, you know, it's just so neat. We keep talking about how they don't have any seniors in the building, and their teams just keep on winning. I mean, it's really, really cool to see them do that. And you've said it all year. They're going to win, probably going to win the district.
Sub-state, all the way.
Sub-state, that'd be
all the way. They host,
and then once you get there, who
Nolensville
knows?
hosts a region too. So they host a region and district, if I'm not mistaken.
Make some money.
Well, they're going to have home court advantage all the way through, and then they're going to have sub-state. So they need to win that region to get to host a sub-state game to go to the Glass House. There's a great chance that happens.
Oh, it'd be unbelievable. I'll give you a
let
little
me remind
trivia
you, too. Let me remind you something before you get to trivia. Nolensville loses to Franklin, mind you, AAA program, 21-2, 5th in the polls in Mid-State. Holly Harris has 41 in that overtime to beat Nolensville.
That's right.
In a very, very, I think by 2 or maybe even 3. Nolensville had them dead to rights numerous times in that game. And just think about that.
Yeah.
So
they're ready.
When you look at Nolensville's record of 18-5, those 5 losses, if I have to go back and look, I think they've got 1 on the AA level.
I love it. Let's make it to Murfreesboro.
Trivia.
Community. What's their mascot on the women's side?
That is in Unionville.
Yep.
And it's some type of cat.
No, it's a Viking.
It's close.
Except the girls' team goes by the Vi-Queens. You have the Vikings and the Vi-Queens. I've never seen that. Keep that in mind for.
Mr. Producer, we might need to double check that.
Oh, no, there is no double check, but double check.
Paige, Lady Patriots, 13-10, 4-7.
Are you now dumber for knowing that?
Lost to Brentwood, 51-43. Have you ever been there?
Yes, that's how I know. It's up on the walls. I was like, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
Tony Garrett, does that name ring a bell? Tony Garrett was
No.
the women's coach down there when I was at Marshall County. He is a Hickman County guy from the 80 team with Brian True. Brian True's teammate, Ernesto Ramos. Last boys team to go to the Tito Assembly State Tournament from Hickman County.
Now that's some trivia.
Now I know everybody watching that is thinking, I am glad to know. Do you want to talk about trivia? We'll keep going. Here we go. Paige, Lady Patriots, 13-10, 4-7. Lost to Brentwood, 51-43. Beat Spring Hill, 68-20. It seems to be a common theme here. Ravenwood, this week, they lost 48-39 in a close game there. Summit, they lost 48-47, and then Monterey at home. Well,
at least they don't have to go to Monterey.
Paige has got a lot to play for this week. They got to try to get themselves up the ladder if they can.
Yeah. And you know, their women's team's kind of like their boys' team. You know, the record doesn't show it, but then you see that Ravenwood and that Summit. And
in a lot of games.
They're in a lot of games, man. And so if they can just find a way in these last couple of weeks to turn those, they can make a run now.
Ravenwood Lady Raptors, Coach Mariska Harris and her team, 16-7, 10-4 in district play, man. I'm telling you, it's going to be a tough out.
Yeah.
This group is. Have won 5 in a row. They beat Summit 41-32. They won the Battle of the Woods 51-28 at Page, at Centennial this week, which they beat Centennial Lady Cougars 58-34 earlier this week. Kiera down in group, they're going to be one of the top 4 advancing. I'm just going to go ahead and make that prediction. You agree?
Oh, without a doubt. And Kiera had 13 in the Battle of the Woods. She's not the leading scorer. Jazz Harmon is with 15. That's not good for the rest of the league. Summit
Lady Spartans 10-9, 7-5. Coach Goodwin quietly making a little bit of a run here towards the end. Lost to Ravenwood 41-32 earlier in the week, but won the Board Battle 56-51. I think this game at Franklin this week is interesting with the Lady Spartans. If Avery Davis can show up, and the Colson twins are 2 of the best post duos we have in the district. if they can just get that thing rolling, because you look at Fairview, right? Franklin. Not a lot of size in the post. Colson twins are both post players.
Right.
Great with their back to the basket. That could be a
Matchup
potential
problems.
Avery Davis guarding Holly Harris. That means somebody's got to step up. It's going to be interesting. I'm telling you, look out. I'm putting an upset notice right now. Look out for this particular game. Dixon County, they lost to Dixon County 53-30. They're going to have to play pretty good in that game and can beat Dixon. If somebody was to upset Dixon coming into the Summit game, you never know, and Summit gets that win. You look at the 11 AAA standings, Dixon and Franklin both on top at 11-2, Brentwood in third, 10-4, Ravenwood 10-4, Summit 7-5, Page 4-7, Indy 2-10, Centennial 1-12, Spring Hill coming in last place 0-10. This is going to be an electric tournament right there to see who's going to be matching up. I cannot wait to get these brackets and let's break this thing down like the experts that we are. But on the boys' side, even you want to talk about unbelievable. These matchups are going to be fantastic. Brentwood 20-5 right now. Coach Shirley and his group 12-2 in district play. Beat Page 63-51. Won the Battle of the Woods 49-42. They played Centennial this week. They lost to Centennial 58-57. I would put them in upset alert, but since Centennial won this first game, there's no overlooking them. Centennial's playing awfully good basketball. If Centennial wins, I might have to do some push-ups for the Cougars, but I just don't think that they win this game.
Going to be hard. It's going to be really hard, but, they knocked off Franklin. They ended their winning streak on Friday night, and they've beat them before. So I'm with you. I don't think Brentwood overlooks them in any way. I think they're playing really well. And what I thought was great about the other night was Ben Mills. Haven't heard that name a whole lot. You hear Thurman, you hear Lackey, you hear Winley. Ben Mills with 13 points.
You've seen him kid play. He's a big dude, man.
Yeah.
He's a big kid.
Dude, they're all big.
Underclassmen. You're right. He's a good post player for him.
Yes.
Lefty.
Going to be a player.
Yeah. So they also have Independence this week, which they won 71-51 for the Brentwood Bruins. Centennial right now, hottest team probably going. Man, nobody's going to want this team in the first round of the district tournament. They're 12-11, 7-6 right now. They beat Dixon 77-56, beat Franklin in the Battle of Franklin. What a game, 79-73. Trey Carlton, sophomore, Tate, sophomore. Been watching this kid since his days at Freedom in the WMAA tournament when Trey Carlton, Harry Lackey had an unbelievable matchup for the championship. Just think about that. Now here they are, both sophomores, both starting, both big-time players for their teams. Trey Carlton has 24 points, huge threes that you saw on the play of the week earlier to get the lead. Dusty Williams, another underclassman, 15. Hainsworth, another underclassman, 15. Hayden Pearson, the only senior on this team, 9 points. They spread the wealth for Centennial.
Yeah, that's, and you got 4 guys there. Hayden had 9. It could have been double figures. When they're playing well, man, I mean, they can put up some points, and you're right. I think they can. The record hasn't shown it. They can play with anybody. One thing you look at, they're sitting there at 12-11. They've beaten both Franklin and Brentwood. I'd say they're probably the only team that's done that.
They're at Spring Hill this week. They won 65-47. Would you like to go ahead and make that prediction? That's what I thought. At Brentwood, like I said, we talked about that. They're at Brentwood, and then they have Ravenwood as well. They've got a tough stretch after they get past the Spring Hill game. But with both Ravenwood and Brentwood, they lost to Brentwood 66-48. Don't sleep on the Cougars.
No.
Fairview, 18-6 right now. Trey McCoy has won 4 in a row, beat East Hickman 60-45, but they did lose to Creekwood 70-46, which is very interesting to me. They've lost 2 games in that district, and both games have been to Creekwood. It must be a matchup issue there, but all they have to do is if they beat Stewart County, which they've beaten before by 30, if they beat them, get this, Fairview Yellow Jackets boys team will be District 11 AA champions.
That'd be big time. I think they're going to do it.
I guarantee they're going to win. Going to get first time in championships. I think Coach Jones told me it's been the 90s, early 90s since that's even happened. So, I mean, that's big time.
Yes, it is. Good luck to them.
Franklin, 20-4 right now, 10-3. They won 14 in a row before losing in Centennial. Don't let anybody get down on Franklin. They lost the other night. Everybody's like, oh, man, what's wrong with them? This team had 3-game week, so that's one thing you got to think about. Emotional game with Brentwood on Monday, which they won. Reese Glover, the 3 games this week, 31, 25, 35, 91 total points, 30 points a game.
Well, that 131 was 39. He scored 39 against Brentwood.
Mr. Producer, did I get that right?
Check it out. He got 39 against Brentwood.
Regardless.
Regardless. Well, and here's the thing with
points.
Centennial. If you haven't seen him play, go watch him play. You're missing out.
Man.
But he had 39 against Brentwood, and then the 35 against Centennial. Oh, what happened to Centennial? I mean, Franklin, I tell you, they went 18 for 41. How often are they going to go from three-pointers, excuse me. How often are they going to go 18 for 41? Not very often.
Not very often. Well, you got to look, Finley Long, 10 points, Jack Patton, 12 points, Sigler, 12 points, Reese Glover, 35. I mean, it's the same thing over and over and over. The minute you think we're going to stop Reese Glover, he's not going to get his points, right, he drops 39 on you. Then we're going to we're going to let Reese have his, but we're going to stop everybody else. Good luck with that, too, because he'll have 50 that night and somebody else will. I mean, this guy is really, really, really
fun to watch, man. The whole team's fun to watch.
Franklin, 24, like we said, they are ranked 6th in the state right now. They have Summit this week, which they won 64-60, Dixon, and then at Spring Hill. They have an easy road out. Summit is a big game for them and for Summit this week. It'll be interesting. That's Tuesday night. See how that plays out. But then you've got Dixon and Spring Hill left in district play. They're going to pretty much wrap up second place regardless with a win or loss to Summit. So
that's right.
Rebels are rolling right now. Independence 3-18, 3-10, lost to Franklin 72-70, and Summit 61-57 in the border battle. Tough game, man. I mean, they're right there. Coach Jarrett Jones got his team playing hard. Mac James, St. Luke, all those guys, man. All they got to do is just keep battling, and you're gonna have. If you just stick around long enough, Centennial's proof of that the other night. If you just let them stick around long enough, you'll get a win.
They're close, and
they're
with a healthy
actually,
Mac James, they can compete with anybody, and that's what they're doing. And
they're actually playing at a good time.
That's right.
Playing good at a good time.
That's right.
So Nolensville 11-12, 5-3. They lost to Marshall County 73-72 in a tough matchup there. They beat Giles 59-44. They played Marshall and at Community. They're sitting in third place in 12-AA. They're fine where they are. They're going to win both those games right there. That's going to put them at 7-3 for the year in that district, above 500. Coach Wes Lambert.
Great job. I mean, they're in a tough league now. We talked about that in boys basketball, tough league. Blodorn, he's one of the best ones in it, and I think they make noise in the tournament as well.
Page lost to Brentwood 63-51. They beat Spring Hill 41-16. Shocker. Ravenwood and at Summit left. Those games were both competitive. Page has got to get, they're in the same boat as the Independents. They've got to get themselves. It's coming down to Indy and Page of who's going to play Spring Hill in that play-in game. So there's a little bit of pride on the line there to try to get out of that game.
Right.
Then the winner of that faces Brentwood.
I can tell you who don't want to see Page is Franklin.
Oh, then to think about that. If Franklin ends up second, they finish 8th, guess who's going to play in the first round?
Page and Franklin.
Page
That'll
and
be
Franklin.
a dogfight.
Ravenwood 16-7, they beat Summit. But they lose the Battle of the Woods 49-42. They are at Page and at Centennial. Those two games right there for Coach Whitlock are not cakewalks by any stretch.
No. I think Ravenwood poses a matchup problem for Page. Centennial is a little bit different with them, so it's going to be tough.
Summit 12-8, 7-6, lost to Ravenwood, beat Indy 61-57 in the border battle. That's a good win for them to bounce back. They have at Franklin, Page, and at Dixon. Man, that's not easy for them, too, especially with that Franklin. I'm telling you, that's going to be an interesting watch. Watch that game.
Oh, without a doubt. And if they're healthy, they're playing well at the right time, but they need DeMonte to be in that game.
Yep. Mr. Producer, what do we have?
All right, guys. First of all, big congrats to Barbara Campbell, TWSAA Hall of Fame inductee. It'll be happening in April. And also, I Googled it. Tate is 100% right. There are the Vikings and the Vikings. It's on Google.
How many Glover have the other night?
Didn't get to that. Sorry about that. We'll have to catch that one on the next one.
You can take every coach that we have in this system, add up their wins, and you still fall short of Barbara Campbell.
Coach.
It's unbelievable.
And maybe
it's
for the
over
rest of their
1,000
career,
wins.
it's over 1,600
to 200 losses.
Yeah, and here's what I want to know: she's third nationally. Like, who are the two that have more wins than that? You can only play about 35 a year, right?
I know. It's pretty crazy. Longevity is the key.
13.
Thanks for joining us.
Even more importantly, and then I'll be quiet. 25 state tournaments out of 30 years. 25 state tournaments, and she's won 13 of them.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.